Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We have Naomi Osaka vs Paula Badosa for round 1 of the French Open or Roland Garros. I cannot wait to get into this one. We're going to be predicting the matchup and going into how I think this match will play out. Before you get into it though, remember to hit that like button, do subscribe if you're new, and do leave a rating or review if you're listening on a podcast platform. Also shout out to our members on YouTube as well for your contributions. Okay, so this is, in my opinion, the pick of the first round matches on the WTA side for Roland Garros. I just think it's a blockbuster. It really is. There's also a lot of interesting factors going into this matchup. Paula Badosa has had injury worries. Naomi Osaka has won a challenger tournament on clay. Her first tournament win since coming back from having a child, and it's actually her first clay court title win ever. So, some interesting little tidbits there. She also lost to Iga Swiatek in round 2 last year of Roland Garros after having a match point. And for Paula Badosa, she, I think, in her own words, in her own thinking, isn't coming into this the most prepared. But if she was, I think, fully fit, if she was playing her best, I think she'd probably go into this the favourite given it's on clay. I think she has better clay court pedigree. But because she's not, it now makes it even more interesting because we don't know which Paula is going to turn up. And also we don't know which Naomi is going to turn up, because the Naomi that played against Iga last year, she could have beaten anyone on clay on that day. She could have. Okay, so in terms of results recently, so as I mentioned, Naomi has won a title on clay or even. In Madrid, she lost in the first round, but then she won a tournament in France in Saint Malo and beat some decent players. Marchenko, Parry, Giacomo, Jean-Jean and Huvan. So some decent players and decent wins there. And then in Rome, she made a good run as well. She was supposed to actually play Paula Badosa in the first round, or second round, sorry, even, and it didn't happen because Paula had to pull out. She beat Irani in the first round, then beat Golubic, Buzkova, and then lost to Stearns in a final set tiebreaker. Very close to winning that one. Stearns playing some inspired tennis. For Paula, she hasn't played anything in the clay court swing up until last week when she played Strasbourg. She beat Buzkova in the first round. It was a walkover at 3-all, and then lost to Samsonova in 3 sets. Look, on clay, it's a slow surface, so both these players possess power, but the power is not going to carry as much weight as it would on a quicker surface. However, in saying that, both players hit a very heavy ball, heavy in terms of being able to exert a lot of spin onto the ball as well, and that does give you a lot of purchase off this surface because clay, slow clay, is very conducive to spin. And both these players will get a lot of bang for their buck when they do have that weight of shot. It's going to be a very exciting match to watch. We're going to see a lot of winners, I'm sure. A lot of lung-busting rallies just because the courts are slower and both players will be going for their shots. But there will inevitably be some longer rallies. I think from the serve and return dynamic point of view, there's a few things to talk about. I think Osaka and Paula both have incredible serves. I would say Osaka's I trust a little bit more. And on the return, again, I think there's not too much in it. I would say that Osaka is braver on the second serve return and arguably a bit more efficient and effective. Paula, though, off the forehand has a lot of consistency. It can be a real weapon. The backhand side can be quite consistent, but I actually think where Naomi might win this match is in the ad-court exchange. And I talk about this a lot on the men's tour, but in the women's tour it can be quite prevalent. I think this is one of those examples. Osaka's backhand is, in my opinion, a top 5 backhand on the women's tour. On clay, you could argue it's not, because it's a bit flatter than her forehand. She can hit with spin on it, a lot of spin at times, but I would say it's generally a more flat stroke. Paula, I think, can get jammed on that side at times, especially when defending. So that's something that Osaka could definitely take advantage of. What's also going to be interesting is the variety, because Osaka doesn't really play, for example, drop shots. Paula might, and that could play into the Spaniards' favour. She might also add in a bit of slice and dice here and there and hit with a bit more height. I think Osaka, we know what she's going to bring to the table, and if she executes it well, it's very hard to beat. But at the same time, if she is playing near her best and her opponent is able to match that, sometimes it's difficult for her to find the variety, the different avenues of winning. And I think that could be a bit of an issue as she works her way potentially through the tournament. In this match, though, I'm going to pick Osaka. I think she's going to be quite confident going into this. The head-to-head is 0-0. They have never played. I'm not convinced about Paula's back. If I'm being honest, I don't think she's 100%. Even though it sounds like she is, given her interviews and everything since the recent pullouts at Rome, Madrid, etc. So that's positive, and I hope she is fully fit. I still think Naomi will get the win. I think she's got something to prove after that loss to Iga last year in round 2. I think her game is going to be difficult for Badosa to defend against. And I actually think Naomi may defend a bit better against Paula than Paula will against Naomi. And that's going to be one of the big factors, I think, in this match. But the biggest one for me is I think Naomi will win out in that ad-court exchange, which is so important, especially with two players who hit the ball so clean. Let me know who you think is going to win and why. Thanks very much, guys. Stay safe and well, and we'll see you on the next video.